After sitting through 2 hours of this miserable garbage movie, I can tell you that the only memorable thing about this piece of film is watching Amber Heard get lasered in the boobs. That is the only memorable thing about this movie. Otherwise, I hate this film so much. I knew going into it that it was going to be ass, but I didn't expect it to be Lizzo-sized ass. I didn't expect it to be that big. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you why Aquaman 2 is just pure trash, bro. This is the kind of movie you put when you want to switch off your brain and just stop. You forget how to reason, and you don't want your brain cells to be active if you want to consume a piece of media. This is the kind of movie that you watch so that your brain cells can die slowly. The first issue with this film is what I like to call, please copy my homework, but don't copy all of it so that the teacher doesn't notice. But unfortunately for you, we the audience, we notice.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
We notice that you've copied stuff. Every time you watch this film, you just keep pointing at, you just notice, hey, I know where you stole that from, I know where you stole that from. This movie copies Aquaman 1, and it copies so many other things you've seen from other movies. For example, in this movie, there's a part where this scientist dude is giving some exposition or something, and then there's an explosion. And then Aquaman says, well, I forgot how that used to happen, or something like that. Basically, he basically references the fact that in the first movie, when people used to explain stuff, they'd be talking and then boom, something would explode in their face. There's a scene where even the way the movie begins, it begins with Aquaman fighting some people who are hijacking a sub, or is it a ship, some pirates. That's how the first movie introduces him, with him fighting some pirates. The issue is that with this one, with Aquaman 2, there's no context. With Aquaman 1, at least there was some build up to it, there was some context to it. In this one, you just see him with some background narration, and then he's fighting some pirates. And then it turns out to be a story time he's giving his kid. And then they have a scene where his kid is talking to fish. Just like in the first movie, when he's a kid, he's talking to fish. And then in this movie, Atlantis gets attacked. Just like in the first movie, Atlantis gets attacked. So lazy in just how they go about blatantly copying things from the first film. In this movie, there is a character that Aquaman and his brother go to meet, who will remind you of Jabba the Hutt if you watch Star Wars. There's a part where they talk about the Black Trident. So the Black Trident is this weapon that a Black Manta uses, and they start giving like a history lesson on the Black Trident, and I guarantee you it will give you pure Black Adam vibes. If you watch Black Adam, it will give you pure Black Adam vibes. There's this one scene where you see in the third act where they are going to Antarctica, and you see this submarine in Antarctica. I swear to God, all I could think about was Fast and the Furious. I think it was Fast and the Furious, what? Was it 8 or 9? That's all I could think about. I think it was Fast and the Furious 9 or something. I can't remember. But there's a scene in this movie where a submarine is in Antarctica, and I was like, the shot they use is just like the Fast and the Furious shot. In fact, in this movie, Dominic Toretto, his child gets kidnapped, and then they have to go to save the child. Oh, wait, that's this movie, Aquaman 2, where Aquaman's kid gets kidnapped, and then they have to go save the child. Just like in Fast and the Furious, this movie has themes of family, fatherhood, stuff like that. Very, very Fast and the Furious type vibes. Even the way the enemy is beaten in the end scene, he's the evil guy, his trident is broken, which is just like in the first movie, the trident is broken. The amount of copying, my God. The lack of original ideas, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. There's a part where Aquaman and his brother go to an island, and they're like big bugs and big flowers. I was like, didn't you get that idea from like King Kong or something? I think King Kong from 2005 has that happening. The unoriginality is annoying. Number 2 issue is Black Manta earns a power up that is unearned. Let me say it that way. An unearned power up. Yeah. So in this movie, unlike the Marvels, which is also another piece of trash movie, at least with this movie, Aquaman 2, the villain at least is functional. Let me say like that. They do some good stuff with him until they ruin him in the end. But for most of it, he's intimidating, and he has a clear goal to get revenge, because that's what I mean. It's also a copy of the first movie, Getting Revenge, but at least here it's functional and it tries to work well. The problem is, in this movie, the bad guy camp, let me call them the bad guy camp, Black Manta's camp, they find this underground place in the ice where they find like some upgrade weapons for like an old generation of Atlantis. It was so random. Like they just fell in, or I think a monster, I don't know, sucked them in or something. And then, like even the monster that was guarding those weapons is a ripoff of the first film, where Arthur has to go and fight that tentacle monster for the trident. My God, the amount of ripping off. My God, great. It makes me my head ache. Yeah, so in this movie, the camp, the guys who are with the villain, they fall into a place where they find a bunch of weapons that are Atlantean. Black Manta just goes, he grabs a rod and like the head of this trident thing, and then he connects them. And I was like, literally anyone can do that. Like they could have written it in a way that the Black Trident picks Black Manta. You get, like he earns it somehow. He's special somehow. But instead, anyone can just grab these two parts of the trident and connect them, and it starts working. And it starts spouting out exposition about the Lost Kingdom, something. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Thor: Love and Thunder. You remember in Thor: Love and Thunder, if you've watched Thor: Love and Thunder, there's this scene where the bad guy just picks up the Necro Sword and then he uses it as his new weapon. Like, it's so unearned. There's no challenge. I mean, there was a monster, yes, but like I said, he just picks up the trident, connects it, and then it starts working for him and downloading information into his head, and he's now like Neo. I know Kung Fu. I found it to be so unearned the way the bad guy upgrades his power level. In a sequel, things are supposed to be upgraded, but not lazily upgraded. There's supposed to be a way that they earn the upgrade. Number 3 has to be something I like to call the easy way out. So there's this scene, like I said, this movie rips off the first movie in many ways. In this movie, there's a scene where they go to the desert, just like in the first film. In this movie, Aquaman goes to the desert to retrieve his brother who is imprisoned on land. And it's one of the easiest jailbreaks I've ever seen, because he has a suit that makes him invisible. There were only 2 guards to stop them, at least before they increase. But once they broke out of prison, I was watching and I was like, why are there only 2 guards trying to stop them? It was one of the easiest ways for a hero to have to experience challenge. They removed the challenge of Aquaman trying to save his brother. And I was thinking, Aquaman is not necessarily Metal Gear Solid, because the reason he had to go invisible is so that he's not seen freeing his brother, so that it's not treated as an act of war. But it would have been nice to see him try and be stealthy or something, and there's a challenge in trying to free his brother. It felt so easy when I was watching that scene. And when I compare it to the first movie, when they went to the desert, they had to go through obstacles to get what they wanted. There were obstacles in trying to solve the riddle and trying to figure out where the trident is, and they had to go through that map thing. There were challenges, but here it was just the easy way out. Next up, I would say a lack of journey. No compelling journey, in my opinion. The first movie that made it so cool was that Arthur, Aquaman, had to go through a journey of being this outcast to becoming king. Now in this one, I barely feel any urgency. Literally, there's a part where they stop to eat cockroaches in the woods. There's a part where they stop to eat cockroaches. Aquaman and his bro stop to eat cockroaches in the woods. The movie feels messy as they jump from place to place, from this place where they met this Jabal Hat character to the woods, then to a lab, then jumping around places. It felt so messy. And in my opinion, I never felt any real character growth for any of these characters. Maybe for his brother, maybe for Aquaman's brother, I felt some character growth. But for everyone else, it was just it was just there. It was just there. Number 5 is what I like to call Aquam Marvel Man. Aquam Marvel Man. Why is this movie constantly trying to shoehorn comedy into the movie? There was like this scene where Aquaman's kid pees on him. There's this scene where they are running and they start cracking jokes about how Aquaman's brother has never ran on land, so he's running funny. There's this octopus that he had to go with on land. There's this bridge scene where they try to, it's cartoony, where Aquaman runs into this statue thing and then it falls and then he cracks a joke. I'm like, it affects the tone. I feel like there's no tension. Even when the fight scenes happen, there's no tension. It feels like a buddy cop type movie. There was this large talking lobster that kept cracking annoying jokes every time. I hated it. It just ruins the vibe of the film. I can't take it seriously. I never feel like anyone is ever in danger. Black Manta was a good villain until they ruin him in the end when, as I said, he has the black trident. The brother of Aquaman grabs it, jams it together, he gets the power, and then it's drained from Black Manta, and then Aquaman just like knocks him. And I was like, your entire movie has been building up to this dude getting his revenge, and now he's just this fucking movie, bro. My god, to me it felt like a film that just had plot, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Plot. Characters just following a plot, running around doing fuckery that I don't care about. And even the ending, it felt like something from Black Panther. Like the ending where Atlantis reveals itself, and Aquaman is like, we are here to share our secrets and science and technology. It's like so Black Panther-ish, stolen ideas, ripping off. I give this movie like a 4 out of 10. I agree with the critics. It deserves that 30% something. It's the kind of film you just put when you just want to zone out and just. It's not a film that I would actually like say is anything good or well. Those are my thoughts. Tell me what you thought. I would rather watch this over the Marvels, but this doesn't make this movie like remarkably good. Tell me what you thought of this film. I'll leave my review of the Marvels here, and then I'll see you in the next one.